Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold stream. On today's stream, we are back with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are the Duelist Cup. That was a great transition. The Duelist Cup is about to jump into Stage 2, which means that it's going to be more competitive, which also means... Look, I don't have time to actually compete, and I don't really care too much about actually competing. For the most part, I just play for fun. And we definitely will, or at the very least I will. I don't know if I'll necessarily compete on stream, but at the very least I will. However, I would like to get, once again, to Stage 2 with Man, because I think it'd be fun. Man's a pretty fun deck. I've really enjoyed playing this deck overall. I've had a good time with it, so that is the general plan for today. However, before we do that, I have something that I want to there's a new card and there's a video that I want to watch because it looked kind of funny and I wanted to go over it together basically. So first and foremost, new card, PogChamp new card. We have Cherubidam probably is how you would say that, right? Irisfiel, which is a rank 8 light fairy effect Xyz monster with 825. It requires 2 level 8s. Of course it's generic. Why would it not be? This better have a terrible effect. Once per turn, you can Xyz summon this card by using an Xyz monster you control that has not activated its effect in the monster zone this turn. Oh, it's Zeus 2. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can activate this effect this turn. Xyz monsters you control will gain attack equal to their own rank times 100 during the battle phase each turn. So they add 8. This would add 800, so it'd be 16, right? Monsters you control will gain attack equal to their own rank times 100 during the battle phase only. Wow. Sure. I guess this helps like trains, but trains don't really have a way of... I guess they kind of do, right? I don't know how much that matters, but okay. And then if this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach material from your monsters instead. This is simply an additional material for Zeus. Right? Like, this is just another Zeus material. That's mostly what it's going to be used for. Is like, you make a rank 7, and then you can slap this guy on top of the rank 7, and then you can go double Isaias. You can't activate the effect, obviously, of the 7, but you can still, like, do something, you know. You slap this guy on top and then make Zeus, and then have that extra material to nuke the board. Similar to how the lower ranks have Downerd. That's kind of what this feels like. That's all. Awesome. Badass name. Yeah, this name surely is badass. This name is so mid. This is like... This reminds me of those, like... those really silly usernames that are like XX Dark Shadow XX or something stupid like that. That's exactly what this looks like. It's like, it's Cherubidam Israfiel. Oh, it's so sick. And you're just like, really? This is the name we went with? It's, I don't know. It's not like the worst, but it's just like, I wouldn't say it's badass. It's just like, okay. It's kind of silly in my eyes, but... To each their own. It's a fine card. So, I saw this video that says, how often does Yugi actually cheat? And I was like, that sounds funny. So, I haven't watched it up until this point, and we're going to watch it together, and it's going to be great. Trust.
Yugi cheats a lot, like a whole lot. Like here, or here, or here, or here. At this point, it's practically immune. Yugi's cheated so much, he's gained a reputation for pulling off some of the most ridiculous rule-breaking plays. But the truth is, Yugi bends rules in almost every arc. And yes, even the movies. So today, I wanted to make the most complete breakdown.
Oh, especially in the movies.
Every illegal move, every contradiction, and even clearing up a few things that look like cheating.
Okay, so... The problem is that the rules within the anime are entirely different from the rules within the actual game. So if we actually go by the rules based on how they are in the anime, it's kind of rare that he actually cheats. He still cheats, but it's not nearly as common.
But actually aren't. So let's find out. Does Yugi really deserve the King of Games title, or is he actually the King of Cheats? We need to lay a few ground rules about what counts as a cheat. You can pause if you want to read them. The most important thing is that
Wait. The
Or is
first
he actually the
rule
King of
will
Cheats?
follow
We
the
need to lay a few
anime. So everything is judged on anime rules and card effects. Okay. Does that also mean... Okay, yeah. Each arc has their own specific rule set. Okay. So, does that mean we're going to actually judge the first arc? Because the very first arc of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime is basically just a whole bunch of people collectively making up rules, right? Like legendary... Everyone knows the Giant Soldier of Stone, attack the moon. That's like the first one everyone thinks of. But like... Is that necessarily a bad thing? Is that a cheat if the opponent using Umi has basically made it so that none of his monsters can be attacked while Umi is on the field? Who knows? Who knows?
ground rules about what.
What are the other rules? If Yugi performs an action that contradicts other cases that he has performed before, then it counts as a cheat. Good to know. If Yugi at any point uses some kind of trickery that misleads the opponent, then this counts as a cheat. That is honestly, technically, by Konami standards, that is true. If he lies to the opponent and misrepresents the game state, that's cheating. Any duel that I do not mention, you can assume did not find anything noteworthy to mention. Good to know.
You can pause if you want to read them. The most important thing is that some of these are a bit subjective, so if you disagree, make sure to let me know in the comments. But starting off with Duelist Kingdom, home to some of the most prolific cases of Yugi cheating, we'll begin with Yugi versus Weevil. I also use this duel to lay out some of the weird plays that Yugi makes that aren't actually cheats. Starting off strong, just 2 turns into the duel, Yugi draws a card during Weevil's draw phase, which, you know, you aren't allowed to do. Weevil first attacks Dark Magician with his basic insect. But Yugi activates Mirror Force, and then Weevil's monsters get destroyed. Seemingly out of nowhere, Weevil loses 1,445 life points. This might seem like a cheat, but in Duelist Kingdom, whenever a monster is destroyed by effect, the owner of that monster loses a portion of those monsters' attack now are destroyed. That being said, the amount lost is never consistent, as in this duel, Weevil should have lost 2,035 life points, not 1,440.
Oh! He should have died. Wait, hold on. No, if I'm not mistaken, Basic Insect... No, maybe you're right. I don't know.
5. But given that in this case it doesn't help Yugi, the way life points are taken away based on card destruction is also too arbitrary for me to definitively say if Yugi's cheating, so we won't count this as one.
Yeah, a lot of the life decrease effect, or the way that like life points are calculated in the first season is like so confusing. It does not make any sense. I have no idea how it works.
Burning Land, which he uses to destroy the field. An aspect of Duelist Kingdom that not a lot of people realize is that a lot of the rules basically come down to how good at improv you are when coming up with card effects. So if something sounded reasonable enough, you could do anything. Akin to a game of D&D, but just like D&D, if Yugi's explanation for an effect is just too far out of the bounds of reality, I'm going to count it as a cheat. So in this case, Burning Land is as reasonable of an explanation you can give in destroying a field spell. Weevil attacks Gaia with Great Moth, and in response, Yugi activates Polymerization from his hand during Weevil's turn to fusion summon Gaia the Dragon Champion. So this is a tricky one, because on the one hand, spells are treated as quick play spells in Duelist Kingdom. There are many cases of this happening, so we know that this isn't.
Why does he have 1606 life points? What's going on there?
When did that happen? Is that Yugi activates Polymerization from his hand during Weevil's turn, which isn't allowed. I couldn't find any examples of other spells being activated from the hand, but the best evidence I could of this being a rule break is that Yugi actually summons Dark Sage, which has the effect of letting Yugi activate one spell from their hand during their opponent's turn, which implies that you couldn't normally, so we'll count this as a cheat. Yugi activates Maku the Magical Mist, which according to Yugi...
That's right, Magical Mist washes the field clean.
Which was important as Great Moth continually weakened Yugi's monster through the air. Okay, sure, I can see this working under the current applications of Great Moth's Poisonous Scales. Yugi also attempts to argue that Maku the Magical Mist boosts Summon Skull attack, due to it creating a thunderstorm, and the fact that Summon Skull has an electrical attack. This one is also fine, because weirdly enough, Summon Skull does attack with electricity. Moving on to Yugi's duel against Mako, on Mako's turn, he declares an attack on Yugi's Giant Soldier of Stone in defense position, and Yugi changes Giant Soldier of Stone's defense position to attack position, which counts as a cheat because you can't change your monster's position during your opponent's turn. And the next cheat is a controversial one.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I really did not think that Yugi was gonna cheat just so blatantly. He's just like, up. Actually, I'm now in attack position.
Yugi changes Giant Soldier of Stone to
Alright.
attack position. This card attacks his spell card, Full Moon, to cause the Tide to reverse and Water to reverse, leaving Mako's monsters all exposed from the water, which in turn makes them lose attack due to them being short. And so Yugi's justification of this is,
As you yourself said before, Mako, it is the moon that controls the ocean's tides.
I'm actually going to count this as a cheat, and here's why. The main reasoning for this is when Yugi first activates Full Moon, the tide doesn't change at all. So on the flip side, if Yugi destroys Full Moon, there should also be no change in the tide. Next up is Yugi still gets
Yeah,
Kaiba. Yugi uses
that's
Spellbinding
reasonable.
Circle on Kaiba's Blue Eyes, which causes it to lose 700 attack and prevents it from attacking or changing its battle position. Nowhere on the card does it state that the monster loses 700 attack, and so normally I would count this as a cheat. But because the anime consistently shows
The anime card does. The anime card specifically does state that, so that's just incorrect.
Spellbinding Circle, reducing a monster's attack by 700 every time Yugi uses it, I'm not going to count this one. Yugi
Yeah,
uses
yeah.
Mystical Elf to boost
It's-
Blue Eyes'
it's just
attack
in
by
the anime
1100, but
ruling
Mystical Elf is a normal monster,
of the card.
and Yugi's justification for this is pretty weak. So this one is definitely a stretch, and I'm going to count it as a cheat. An honorable mention is Kaiba hacking Blue Eyes, so it loses attack and eventually blows itself up through plot armor. Now, I'm not going to count this as Yugi cheating, because the entire effect is caused by Kaiba interfering with the duel, not anything Yugi does. Again, this is another controversial one. This duel takes the cake for quite possibly the biggest Duelist Kingdom nonsense. Yugi uses Spellbinding Circle to force Reaper of the cards to attack one of Yugi's cards, which contradicts every other use of Spellbinding Circle. As I mentioned before, the anime always is shown to debuff the monster by 700 attack, and also prevented the affected monster from attacking. So that's a cheat for Yugi for just making up an effect on the spot. Panic swarms the Field of Darkness, which prevents Yugi from seeing what cards are being played, so Yugi uses Sword of Revealing
Just straight up giving more effects to a card. That's what I should do.
Light to brighten the field.
Oh,
This
yeah,
makes
this
a lot
card,
of sense as it's a
it also,
so,
draws
Right
me a
hand
card.
slide is Yugi's next move. He uses Swords of Revealing Light to
Sick.
prevent Panic from attacking for 3 turns, and then uses Catapult Turtle to sacrifice Guy the Dragon Champion to launch an attack on a flotation ring of Castle Dark Illusions. And I'm going to count this as 4 separate points of cheating. The first is when Catapult Turtle sacrifices Guy the Dragon Champion. It boosts its attack by 600, which obviously Catapult Turtle doesn't do. And Yugi doesn't even bother giving it an explanation for it, and Catapult Turtle never does this again in the anime, so I'm counting this one as a cheat. The second one comes from how after Guy has been fired at the castle, the only part of the castle that is damaged is the flotation ring on it, and absolutely nothing else. This makes no physical or logical sense, because for the flotation ring to be damaged means that the shield surrounding the monsters, the rest of the castle,
Yep.
or even the monsters themselves didn't get damaged, but only the flotation ring, which, might I add, the shield is
That-
what caused the monsters to be trapped under the castle. So we know
Yeah.
the shield could be interacted with. The third cheat is Yugi's justification for why the Castle Dark Illusions is
Well,
so
no, hold on. No. This does actually technically make sense. At least, like, being able to get through the shield. Because Light Force Sword specifically locks the opponent's monsters. Not Light Force Sword. No, is that the name of the card? What's the name of the card? Light Force Sword? No. The other one. Swords of Revealing Light. There we go. Swords of Revealing Light specifically prevents the opponent's monsters from attacking, whereas your monsters do have the ability to attack. So it's more of like a one-sided force field, where it's like, oh, I can attack you, but you can't attack me kind of thing. So at least in regards to that, it does make sense. That being said, only being able to damage the flotation ring, yeah, that one's kind of weird. Maybe you could get away with it and make it make sense, but not really. Counterpoint, he could have also just activated Regeki. That also would have worked.
Every sword will vanish.
which makes absolutely no sense, because if monsters are locked inside of swords, then how did the flotation ring fall before the swords expired? And for the fourth cheat, Swords of Revealing Light disappeared after 2 of Panic's turns, where it should have been for free. Even within the framework of Duelist Kingdom D&D rules, the reason
True.
for Yugi's attack with Catapult Turtle makes no sense.
Even though the
and it's
rules
just
in
too
the
egregious to
universe
let go. Also,
can
what
be
the hell
really
is flotation
inconsistent.
ring? I'm
Well, that's the
crazy
thing.
con-
We are. He actually stated this earlier, but the rules within this arc are specific to the rules within the game that they've already like presented you. Right. So like a lot of these are like, oh, contradictions from like previous things that have happened within the game. So yeah. Even within then, there's at least a few cheats,
confident that
if
this is
not
just a
a bunch.
concept Yugi made up to justify this asshole of a win. By the way, if you're currently enjoying the video, why not subscribe to the channel act of Yugi's end phases? So the actual act of Yugi using polymerization to fuse Blue Eyes to Mammoth Graveyard is actually fine, as in Duelist Kingdom you could use polymerization on any 2 cards to create a new fusion. And while I would have been okay with this, as the actual logic behind fusing a pile of bones to Blue Eyes works, what works less is Yugi's actual justification he gives.
アルティメットドラゴンに闇属性を持つアンデッドモンスターマンモスの墓場を融合させた結果
Except that Mammoth Graveyard is neither dark or a zombie, it's a nerf dinosaur. And this is all based off the anime card, so because Yugi got both the type and attribute wrong here, I'm counting this as a cheat. I'm giving another cheat
Honestly, understandable. You know what?
for Yugi using Living Arrow as well,
True.
because every time it's used, Yugi's reasoning is way too
I didn't
vague and
even-
changes every time. Here,
What? Okay. Yeah. I guess Mammoth Graveyard, to be fair, does make more sense to be an Earth dinosaur because it is a mammoth graveyard as opposed to the mammoth itself. I don't know. Maybe it makes sense.
Allows you to use polymerization on an opponent's monster. Next time, it lets Yugi use one of Pegasus' spell cards after it had already been resolved. The next, it reflected Bandit Keith's spell card back to his monster. So if how its usage does not line up at all with the card's effect, and how Yugi doesn't even justify how this works, I'm counting this as an additional cheat. In Yugi's duel against Mai, he doesn't actually cheat, and every single reasoning he gives is pretty solid. Here, Yugi uses Catapult Turtle to destroy Mai's mirror wall, where even if the mirror wall is a trap, Yugi's justification fits and makes sense. Mai's Shadow of Eyes forces Yugi's monsters to attack her, and Yugi plays Mystical Elf, which ignores Mai's spell, as Shadow of Eyes only works on female monsters, which again, makes sense here. For Yugi versus Joey's duel, Yugi only gets one cheat in this duel. Joey attacks with Thousand Dragon. In response, Yugi activates Maki the Magical Mist, which blocks Thousand Dragon's attack by extinguishing the flames through the rainwater. It's a fishy explanation because the rainwater is shown only to affect outside the castle, not inside, but I can see how rainwater can stop the attack of a fire-breathing dragon. Joey manages to affect Time Wizard's effect against Yugi, causing it to age the field, with this effect working on Dark Magician. But then we see that it never actually ended up working as intended, as now Dark Magician turns into another monster, the Dark Sage. This is much of an ass pull as you can get, and it's even worse when you consider Yugi gave this card to Joey. But the idea of a wizard with a millennial worth of knowledge, unfortunately for Joey...
To be fair, he did give the cards to Joey and may have known about the effect of Time Wizard being applied to Dark Magician, giving him Dark Sage. And it's not like he didn't have Dark Sage within his deck. So I'm not going to count... I wouldn't count this as a cheat. While it is kind of mean to do to Joey, I wouldn't say it's a cheat. I think it's just Yugi being an asshole. So,
there's an explanation that makes
there
sense.
You go.
Thank God. Moving on to our final duel in Duel's Kingdom, we have
There
to
you go.
this arc is Yugi versus Pegasus. Like before, Yugi activates Living Arrow with a different effect from its written text. And the explanation doesn't work, so that's an extra count to the score. The only other potential cheat is the sequence of events where Yugi activates Multiplying Kribo to create an infinite number of them, causing Thousand Eyes Restrict to blow up, which all makes sense. We're finally off of the mess of rules that Duel's Kingdom brings, and we can enter the more concrete defined rules of Battle City.
Yay, no more D&D, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not gonna lie, if you had to play Duel Monsters Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Duelist Kingdom Yu-Gi-Oh! How would you go about it? Because it seems... I mean, it's like how you would play as a kid, right? Like, you can't really make up a definitive way to play the game, and you just kind of collectively agree, like, nah, you got it. But, like, I don't know. It's just so... It's hard to wrap my head around, because I'm like, none of this would make sense. And it'd be so impossible to fully... Because like, D&D is basically just pretend with rules to help you pretend. But Duel Monsters, because it is specifically competitive as opposed to cooperative, like, you can't make it work. It's just like, no, actually, my card does this. And it's like, actually, my card does this. Actually, this is what my card does. And then it's just like, yeah, you're never gonna get anywhere, right? Terrible game. How'd this get past the first season?
City rules, so that means no more headaches of wondering what Flotation Ring is, or why Maki has a different effect every time it appears on screen. We'll start off Battle City with the very first duel of the entire arc, being Yugi versus Seeker. Yugi goes through most of the duel without cheating, but for some incredibly bizarre reason, it seems like Duel's Kingdom shenanigans are still in store, as Yugi makes up an effect where Alpha the Magnet Warrior gains 200 attack because of Summon Skull's electricity, boosting Alpha. The crazy thing though is that Yugi didn't even need to cheat here, because well, if Yugi wasn't a bum of a duelist and used a monster with the lowest attack to attack a defense position monster, he had enough attack to wipe out the Seeker anyways. So this is obviously a cheat, as Duel's Kingdom rules are off the table in Battle City, so any attempt at trying to logic your way through a random effect appearing doesn't work. The next duel is Yugi versus Arcana.
I'm wondering if Summon Skull was originally supposed to have an effect around electricity, and they just couldn't figure out how to put that into the game, so they just dropped it. Because there was a lot of instances like that within the early Yu-Gi-Oh! Seasons, where it's like, oh, Summon Skull does this thing because of the fact that it's electric. And it's very specific to Summon Skull, so it feels like they had this design idea, and they just never had the ability to implement it, because it just didn't make sense. Like, well, we don't really have, like, an electric thing, or, like, a way that it could interact with, like, water. So I think they may have just dropped it.
So this is obviously a cheat, as Duel's Kingdom rules are off the table in Battle City. So any attempt at trying to logic your way through a random effect appearing doesn't work. The next duel is Yugi versus Arcana. Arcana activates Dark Magic Curtain to special summon a Dark Magician from his deck during his main phase, then proceeds to attack Yugi during his battle phase. Somehow, even after Dark Magic Curtain's resolution and an entire new phase change, Yugi for whatever reason is able to just activate his opponent's cards as his own to special summon Dark Magician Girl, which is a pretty clear violation of the rules. This move gives Yugi two cheats. For the first one, you can't just use the opponent's spell to special summon your own monster. And the second is that Dark Magic Curtain's card effect states that you can special summon Dark Magician, not just any spell.
different card effect in the
So
anime.
Yugi wasn't allowed to special summon the Dark Magician girl here. The third cheat is when Arcane activates Ectoplasmer, a card which lets the turn player choose 2 types of monsters to be converted into ectoplasm, whatever that means. An opponent loses life points equal to the attributed monster's attack. Arcane attributes 2 monsters, so the first type, Fiend, which doesn't inflict damage to Yugi, but then Arcana sacrifices his Dark Magician to deal damage to Yugi, which should have caused Yugi to lose the duel. But for whatever reason, Yugi's Dark Magician absorbs the damage which Yugi should have taken, which is just not an effect in the card. In Yugi's duel against Strings, we get a record number of times that Yugi
Yeah,
chooses
that's
a single game. Yugi says that Buster Blade gains 500 attacks for each dragon.
Yeah, that's
monster
some,
in the grid. However, he
shenanigans.
also applies it to Slifer the Sky Dragon, but Slifer the Sky Dragon, despite its name, isn't.
So this is another instance of this is the only time in the anime where Slifer the Sky Dragon is considered a dragon. That being said, it's also technically the only instance where it's even considered anything, like any type. So I think it really is just a matter of it is a dragon, while also being a divine beast. Because obviously the text within the cards in the physical world, like in the actual TCG, are very different from the text within the anime. And so Slifer, I think, is actually just a dragon in the anime. I don't think this is a cheat. It's just
A dragon type. It's a divine beast.
it's just
Yugi
a dragon.
places Kuriboh in defense position, which should have triggered Slifer's effect to decrease Kuriboh's attack by 2,000 and cause it to get destroyed. But Yugi justifies this by
So the way that this works is because it is stated to be an attack, the steel, metal, something or other that blocks attacks. Because again, Slifer the Sky Dragon's second mouth effect is, while it is an effect, it's also considered an attack. And so in this instance, he's blocked by the cage, preventing an attack, which is why Kuriboh is on the field and it doesn't get destroyed. It's not that the effect it's basically that the effect like can't resolve because of the fact that a card that was played previously was on the field. It's like skill
saying
drain,
as Nightmare Steel Cage
basically.
prevents attacks, it prevents Slifer's second mouth effect from activating. This is wrong. Nightmare Steel Cage only stops attacks, not any effects that destroy monsters. Probably the most egregious is Yugi activating Magic Cylinder and Spellbinding Circle on Slifer the Sky Dragon, which counts as 2 cheats here. Spellbinding Circle shouldn't work on Slifer, as we've seen Mirror Force not working on Obelisk when it attacks.
Sorry to disappoint you, but Mirror Force will reflect Obelisk's attack right back at you. I'm afraid that your weak trap card won't work.
Magic Cylinder negates and redirects Slifer's attack. What?
So that's Obelisk's effect, not necessarily Slifer's effect. It actually states Slifer's effect, or Slifer is specifically unaffected for that turn, and by the end of the turn, it drops the effects. That's what Slifer's effect is. Obelisk's is different, but Slifer specifically is stated to be that of, like it falls off at the end of the turn. So it's like only affected for that turn, as opposed to just not affected.
Well, you
Kind of
could make
funny.
an argument that this card doesn't affect the gods directly and affects their attacks. This again is inconsistent with the previous examples of traps affecting the gods. Yugi uses Brain Control to take control of Revival Jam, which is fine. But here Yugi cheats in 2 ways. First is that Slifer's effect gets procced when Revival Jam is on Yugi's field, but that isn't how Brain Control works. It simply just swaps the side of the field Revival Jam is on. It doesn't count as a summon, so Slifer's effect shouldn't have worked here. The second is that even if Slifer's effect does proc after Revival Jam gets destroyed, this card gets sent to Marik's grave, and when it hits the grave, Revival Jam's effect causes it to get special summoned back to Marik's field, not Yugi's. As Brain Control doesn't make you become the owner for the rest of the game. In Yugi's duel against Loomis and Umbra, he cheats a total of 4 times. Yugi activates card destruction, sending Beast of
Pretty
Prey
much.
to the graveyard, which is fine. Its effect allows it to equip itself to a monster and lower that monster's attack by 500. What isn't fine is that Yugi never mentions this effect at all. He only reveals it after Blue Eyes attacks, which is obviously just cheating. You can't just hide an activated effect and reveal it whenever it's convenient for you. Yugi summons Valkyrie and the Magna Warrior by tributing.
So the anime is entirely different. That is something that is actually a-okay in the anime. That being said, still a cheat. I will agree with that. If that were to happen in the real world, that would very clearly be incorrect. But in the anime, it's fine.
Free Magna Warriors, but the cheat comes from where Masquerade
'Cause that
Knights
happens
is
so
on,
often.
which doesn't let either player
It's just like,
summon
yeah,
monsters. This
you're
one
supposed
is
to hide what your cards do and let your opponent misplay.
egregious, as clearly on a Valkyrie and Magna Warrior card, it specifically uses the word tribute.
Imagine
There's
a
number
judge
who tries to
asking for
call
these
Yugi out on
rulings.
this, but he tries to justify it by saying,
That'd be terrible.
From sacrificing. But that's not the only way to summon powerful monsters, Umbra.
which is just a cop-out, as it doesn't matter what you want to call it. Valkyrion's card effect states directly that you will be tributing monsters. Yugi uses diffusion on Valkyrion.
So, yes, Valkyrion's card effect does state that you tribute the monsters in order to summon it. However, again, anime, and the fact that there's a bunch of other ways that you can, like, contact fuse stuff, I would imagine it's more of, like, a contact fusing, where you're sending the cards to the graveyard as opposed to tributing them, and so maybe that's the anime effect of the card as opposed to tributing them. That being said, yeah, I'd still count it as a cheat. He's cheating.
Magna Warrior, but it's clearly not fusion. It's an effect monster in anime, so this combo shouldn't have worked. Another cheat is that Yugi activates
Okay.
fusion.
So this may have just been a bit of a mistake. I think Valkyrion may have been designed to be a fusion monster, a contact fuse monster specifically. So I think that may have been where things got wrong, or like went wrong. That being said, it's still cheat. It's just like, I think it's supposed to be a fusion
To
monster.
summon the Magna Warriors back, but they should have returned to Yugi's field, not Umbra's, which is crucial as Kaiba then used 3 tributes to summon Obelisk, giving them the win here. Up next is Yugi's duel against Joey possessed by Marek. Yugi uses Dispel to negate the effects of Graceful Dice, but this isn't how Dispel works. Dispel doesn't negate, it only destroys. So in this case, Yugi only would have destroyed Graceful Dice, but he wouldn't have been able to stop the effect of Graceful Dice from working. The second cheat is that the end result of the duel should have been a loss, not a draw.
That's
as
true.
Yugi's life points reach 0 first, and after this happens, the duel ends. And Joey wouldn't have been able to equalize his life points for them to reach 0 as well. In Yugi's duel against Kaiba in the Colosseum, we see Kaiba summon Obelisk, and then Slifer's second math effect activates, causing it to lose 2000 attack. This shouldn't have worked, as literally in the same duel, Obelisk's attack destruction effect doesn't work on Slifer, which is inconsistent with what we see here. Either Slifer's effect doesn't work on Obelisk, or Obelisk would have been able to destroy Slifer in this case. And there's no justification for why Slifer's effect works on Obelisk, but Obelisk's effect doesn't work back. So,
If I'm not mistaken, I think the God cards just say that they can't be destroyed by card effects or something like that. So I think it's the difference of like, one of them is specifically to destroy the card, and the card just can't be destroyed by the card effect. And the other one is something that affects the card, as opposed to like removing it or something of that nature. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain it's like all of them have just like innate destruction protection. And so Slifer is not specifically destroying Obelisk. Slifer is modulating its attack, which is just like affecting the card, which it can do. It's just that Slifer wouldn't be destroyed.
I'm going to count this as a cheat. Kaiba activates Flute of Summoning Dragon, and again, Yugi gets to use his opponent's card out of nowhere, and uses it to summon Red Eye's Black Dragon, which obviously isn't allowed.
Where did that come from? If you recall, you used your flute of summoning dragon to summon your blue eyes to the field. But you may have forgotten that your flute works on my hand as well.
You can't use your opponent's card to summon your own monsters. Another thing to note is that during this duel, Kaiba activates...
I mean, the anime could have the card just say, like, summon a dragon. I don't know.
Spell Sanctuary, a card which lets spells get activated during an opponent's turn, which implied that before, anytime spells used during an opponent's turn, it was illegal. I've decided to assume that all spells being spell speed 4 was legal, mainly due to the overwhelming number of...
Okay, so first of all, not spell speed 4. Spell speed 4 is not a term that actually technically exists within Yu-Gi-Oh! Technically, it's only spell speed 3, which is counter traps, and spell speed 4 is things that would not be able to be responded to. Spell speed 2 is what he's referring to. Either way, doesn't matter. In Battle City, any set spell card can be activated as though it were a quick play spell card. Don't know why that's the case. It's just that's just one of the rules. But you see, Kaiba, I'm not affecting your obelisk. You are the one sending it to the grave. Right?
times this has been confirmed.
Merrick
And then
didn't
for
just take
finale
raw
in Battle City, I only managed to
by
spot 2 cheats.
singing
Yugi said the
through.
card about looking at it in Spell and Trap Zone, and I'm counting this as a cheat, because if it was a monster card, this would have counted as him misrepresenting what he had on the field. Yugi uses Ragnarok to banish his entire deck.
He knows what it is. This is not a cheat, very clearly. Yes, you can be like, oh, but like it's a cheat if he put a wrong card, but he didn't. He didn't. He did not misrepresent the game state. He didn't change anything. He just didn't look at his own card, technically speaking. Even though, theoretically, he already knows. I can understand, like, oh, but, like, you know, he's cheating due to the fact that, like, if he sets a card that's not capable of being set, how do we know that he didn't look? Right? And then immediately set it. Obviously, we know because, like, it's the anime and mind scan and all of that stuff. But, like, genuinely speaking, he didn't. He did, in fact, play the card correctly. So it's not like he's misrepresenting game state or misusing a card or something of that nature.
Destroy Winged Dragon of Ra, which again, destruction effects don't work on the gods, and this effect shouldn't have been able to
The Final
destroy Ra.
Ceremony
And in
duel
case
is the only
actually
one that might be
Ragnarok
right.
presenting special, in
No,
the
there's a
original
few
Yugi
duels that don't
explicitly
really have
says
any
that Ragnarok
issues with them.
destroys Ra.
モンスターを全滅させるやめろそれがたとえ神であっても
So this is a cheat. In the entirety of Virtual World Arc, I could only find one single instance of cheating in the entirety of Virtual World, and that's an attack duel against the Big Five, where Yugi summons Dark Flare Knight with Polymerization and attacks the same turn it's summoned. In the anime during Battle City, Fusion Monster
Different rules. It's different rules. It's different rules at this point. Battle City had its own rules, and they keep adapting the rules. That's the problem, is that keeping up with the rules. It's fine. It's a different world.
monsters couldn't attack on the same turn they were summoned, and so Yugi attacking with Dark Flare Knight was illegal. You could argue that as this wasn't in Battle City and in the separate arc, the fusion summoning restriction might have been taken off, and that maybe this rule didn't apply to Virtual World, except that we see Seto Kaiba using Quick Attack against No Kaiba, a card which lets fusion monsters attack on the same turn they were summoned.
Do we know the effect of Flare Knight? Wouldn't Flare Knight just have the effect to be able to attack on the turn it's summoned? Like, yeah, technically the in TCG effect of Flare Knight is not bad, but like it could just have that effect. So I wouldn't call it a cheat. It's just like, oh, that's how that effect works.
Implying that any cases of this happening without this card broke the rules. Moving on to the Waking the Dragons arc, we'll start with Yugi's duel against Raphael. Yugi first special summons Kuri Babylon by using Kuriba's effect to banish the 5 Kuriboh brothers from the field. Yugi then later activates Kuri Babylon's effect to remove it from play to special summon back the 5 Kuriboh brothers. Later, Yugi then again activates Kuriba's effect to summon Kuri Babylon from the banish zone, but this actually was a case of Yugi cheating. Kuriba's effect only special summons Kuri Babylon from the deck, hand, or graveyard, not the banish zone. The only way this
Anime cards are different. Anime cards and their effects are entirely different. They just work entirely differently. If the card, you know, states something in the regular TCG, it's just not going to be the exact same way that it works in the anime. They're just different cards entirely. It could just say banish.
combo would have worked is if he runs another copy of Kuri Babylon in his deck, but this seems pretty unlikely, so it's a case of Yugi cheating. Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight gets destroyed because Yugi activates Seal.
But hold on. You can't just be like, oh, it's unlikely. Because we don't know. I wouldn't say it's cheating then.
Calcos, but there's an effect and lets it return to the field after it gets destroyed, and so Yugi would have had an empty field after this. In Yugi's duel against the fake Yugi, he states that
I'm sorry, what?
So it's a case of Yugi cheating. Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight gets destroyed because Yugi activates Seal or Calcos, but there's an effect and lets it return to the field after it gets destroyed, and so Yugi would have had an empty field after this. In Yugi's duel against
No, it's that the Claw of Hermos, the like dragon monster that is associated with the legendary knights, or not the legendary knights, the legendary dragons, leaves Yugi because he activates the Seal of Orichalcos. It's not that Dark Magician Girl leaves, it's that the card itself like is like, peace, I'm out. That's not cheating. He didn't cheat there. Cause it's like fucking sentient cards. Anyway, it's fine.
Yugi, he states that Divine Wind's effect inflicts any damage opponent's monster's effect would inflict damage to you, doubled back to the opponent. But this is a flat-out lie. It instead reflects any damage that the player would have taken.
It's an anime card. It's different. They have just straight up different effects. You can't do
Onto the opponent plus 500. This duel is probably one of the most insane duels in the anime, where so many times Yugi just objectively breaks the rules, and this isn't even in Duelist Kingdom. Yugi activates Relay Soul, a card which lets him special summon one monster from his hand, but you lose the duel if the special summon monster is destroyed. The cheating comes from when he activated it. His life points reach 0 before the activation of this card, and as Relay Soul is activated after his life points reach 0, he would have lost the duel at that point, and wouldn't have been able to play any cards past this point. Just bear with me for this next combo, because it's incredibly convoluted, where I think
yeah, I mean, theoretically that's true, but realistically it's the anime, and they could have activated it prior to the damage actually resolving or something of that nature. There's a bunch of cards that are like that where it's like, if you would actually lose, you don't. So maybe kind of theoretically, potentially. And yeah, that's
almost every conceivable way here. Legendary Knight Critias attacks Divine Serpent Geth, but then Yugi activates the effect of Critias, letting it absorb the effect of Attack Guidance Barrier from his hand. Now Yugi can choose another monster on the field, and whenever Critias attacks or is attacked this turn, the attack will be directed to the chosen monster. And so Yugi chooses Hermos. And Hermos' effect is not whenever it gets attacked, its attack stat gets tripled. And then it gets reflected back to Critias. But since Critias has just been attacked, its absorbed effect activates again, reflecting it back to Hermos. And again, Hermos' effect activates, causing its attack to be tripled. This causes an infinite loop, where Hermos' attack reaches infinity. Demise then activates effect, absorbing Critias and Hermos, the special summon the Knight of Destiny, letting it absorb the combined attack of the 3 knights and attack and destroy Divine Serpent Geth. And within this entire sequence of events, I found a total of 5 cheats. The first is that Critias absorbs a card's effect from his hand, which he uses on Attack Guidance Armor. However, if we look at Attack Guidance Armor's effect,
my brother in Christmas, I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't matter how many cheats he has. This whole sequence is dog shit, and we could just skip past it. I don't think any of this is cheating. I just think it's just barely making sense of the rules. Because to be fair, Divine Serpent Geth also has infinite attack. shouldn't include filler
This only
arcs.
works when your
I
opponent's
disagree.
monster
I
declares
think
an attack,
that's
not when your monster attacks your
disingenuous, but
opponent.
sure.
The second is that attack guidance armor also requires a defense position monster you control, and so Curtius wouldn't have been able to redirect the attack to Hermos. The third cheat is that obviously your opponent cannot reach infinite attack points by stacking them over and over, as technically Yugi could have just let the attack stack continuously for a long time, but it always would have been a value substantially lower than infinity. Fourth cheat is how Hermos is even able to reflect the attack of Curtius back in the first place.
Okay, but okay, it's fine.
Yugi sends a free Magnet Warriors to the grave as part of Hermos' effect, but there isn't anything that explains how or what these cards are related to in Hermos' attack deflection, and seems to apply that due to them being magnets, which is a whole other can of worms I don't want to deal with. The fifth and final cheat of this combo is that Yugi claims
Mind Serpent strength may be infinite, but that's still not enough. For now, there's a force beyond infinity.
this just mathematically makes no sense to even attempt to claim.
We are talking about sentient cards in a fucking children's card game anime. Math is not part of the equation.
And it's just untrue. For the only cheat in the Grand Championship arc, when Yugi activates Monster Reincarnation, he doesn't actually return Dark Magician to his deck. And for the final and last duel of the original series,
What? The fuck are you talking about? What reincarnation? Reincarnation adds it to hand. You pitch two, you add a card to your hand. What monster reincarnation are you talking about? What are we talking about? What is this card that you've made up? Explain it, please. I'm so
we have
confused.
Yugi's duel against the Pharaoh. For this, we will count both Atem and Yugi cheating as going towards the final count. The first cheat that will count is Yugi Moto using Ground Erosion on Obelisk, which Yugi tries to justify by saying that the trap affects the monster zone Obelisk is in, not Obelisk itself, which is extremely flimsy reasoning, and Obelisk should still be unaffected by this trap.
Always
Pharaoh
skip
uses the
filler.
effect-
The Seal of Orichalcos season is the best season of the DM era. Period. No doubts. Unequivocally. It's by far the best season. Yes, there are like issues with it, but it's by far the best season. I would say it's better than Battle City. So, no, I wouldn't say, oh, always skip filler. There's a lot of really good filler out there. Okay? Maybe don't... I understand being like, it's filler, it doesn't count. But like, who cares? It's really good.
of Slifer to reduce the effect of each of Yugi's Magnet Warriors after they all get summoned. But Yugi counters with Magnet Force, which he claimed to redirect Slifer's attack back to the three gods. This again is a cheat, as the Pharaoh states in his duel,
Traps don't work on obelisks.
and so Magnet Force shouldn't have been able to redirect Slifer's effect. It also contradicts Yugi's earlier assertion that the second math ability of Slifer is an attack, not an
Okay, counterpoint. The attacks of Slifer are what are being redirected. So while the traps don't necessarily work on the gods, it's not affecting the gods, it's affecting the attack of the gods. Therefore, the attacks can go through, and the attacks of the gods are then redirected to the gods, killing them. That being said, yeah, technically you're right. Anyway. Pyramid of Light is not good. Yes, it
effect,
is.
which Magnet Force implies. As this card directly states, if it's targeted by an effect. Magnet Force is also treated as a continuous trap,
It's
even though a
fantastic.
normal
What do you
trap,
mean?
and stays on the field for longer than the turn, which again is a cheat. Slifer gets summoned through the effect of Summoning Clock, a card which lets him special summon monsters from your hand equal to the number of turn counters. This is all fine and well, but as we know if the gods are special summoned, then they are sent to the grave at the end of the turn, but this never happens in a duel. Yugi Moto activates Mirage Ruler, a card which returns all monsters destroyed this turn back to the field, and he returns Valkyrion and Silent Swordsman back to the field. Throughout the duel, Silent Swordsman has been getting attacked during each of Yugi's standby phases, so Silent Swordsman was removed from the field, it would no longer have its boosted attack, and once Yugi summoned it again, it should have had 1000 attack again. Atem activates monster
This could just be an instance of the anime being counting the turns since it was summoned, right? So it's like, oh, each standby phase since this card was properly summoned gains attack. Again, this is an instance of like an anime card could just work differently.
reborn during the battle phase, but Battle City rules no longer apply, and so the Pharaoh shouldn't have been able to activate a spell as a quick play. Yugi Moto activates Spell Textbook, which lets him discard his entire hand to draw one card into Card of Sanctity. The issue is specifically with Spell Textbook, as its effect states that you can discard all the cards in your hand, but given that Yugi has no cards in his hand, he cannot satisfy the requirements to activate it, and so this was an illegal move. Spell all the cards in your hand, but given one card. The issue is
Hold on.
specifically with Spell Textbook, as its effect states that you can discard.
It doesn't state that you have to discard a card. Not a cheat. Discard all cards in your hand. Awesome. Shuffle your deck, then draw one card and reveal it. Awesome. If that card is a spell, activate it immediately. Awesome. Guess what? All of that is the effect. There is no cost. There's no cost requirement. Meaning, you can activate this and then just do the thing. Because it does not state, it says discard all cards in your hand. There's no then effect. You just discard all cards in your hand. That's part of the effect. Then you shuffle your deck. Then draw a card and reveal it. This is the first time where it matters about doing something previously. The previous thing that you had to do is shuffle your deck. Cool. You shuffle your deck, you draw a card, you reveal it, then you can do a thing. Right? If it's a spell, you activate it. Awesome. Not a cheat, it's just that it's a weird statement, because normally this would be a cost to discard all cards in your hand. Cost. Or it would be something like discard all cards in your hand, then if you discarded one, shuffle your deck, blah, 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 blah. It's just, I don't know. I don't think this is technically incorrect, because you do not technically have to discard any cards in order to then shuffle your deck and draw a card. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how that ruling would work. Nonetheless, this sounds like a nightmare to try and figure out. Anyway.
All the cards in your hand, but given that Yugi has no cards in his hand, he cannot satisfy the requirements to activate it, and so this was an illegal move. Spell textbook on a wiki does have the if any clause, which would make it a legal play. If you take the literal Japanese translation of the card, it makes no mention of the if any. That isn't the last time we see Yugi duel in the anime, as in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, he dueled.
There's no way he looked at the Japanese translation and said, actually, when the English translation literally states the thing, that makes it not a cheat. I'm sorry, what? What are you talking about? It literally stated in the translation, the official translation, that it's fine and it's not a cheat. Oh, but the Japanese, what do you mean? It's Japanese. Do you read Japanese? Do you know the exact intent that it states? Shut.
Against Jaden, where he goes through most of the duel without cheating, except for one especially blatant combo. Jaden activates the card Code Change, which lets him change a type in a card effect to be any type of his choosing, which in this case was Hero's Guild, and then Yugi responds by playing Mystical Ref Panel, which I'll be giving 3 docs for. The first is that Yugi wasn't even able to activate Mystical Ref Panel, as a card text of Mystical Ref Panel requires a target of Code Change to be able to be applied to another appropriate target.
Anime cards are different from TCG cards. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
So in this case, Yugi would have needed to swap Code Change's target to instead be card on the field other than Hero's Guild, which now were none. So the conditions to activate Mystical Ref Panel weren't satisfied in the first place. The second is that Yugi uses Mystical Ref Panel like a continuous trap card, and it stays on the field for the rest of the game. But Mystical Ref Panel is a normal trap.
Does it stay on the field for the rest of the game, or is it just applying its effect and the card sticks around in that capacity as, like, an applied effect? Don't worry about it, it's fine.
And should have been sent to the grave after Yugi activated it. And even on a card that he did end up using Code Change on, Yugi still used it wrong, as Dark Renewal's Japanese effect is this, and makes no mention of the type of monster not.
There's no way we are taking the Japanese art or card text and being like, this is how it works in Japan. No. This is the anime. It's just entirely different words. Unless you specifically can read the actual Japanese. Don't fucking translate the Japanese. It's not gonna get the same idea across. Ideas are different in different languages. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going insane, but it's fine.
Especially someone from the grave being Spellcaster. And if we look at the TCG version, its effect specifically mentions a Dark Spellcaster, which Yugi still cannot summon Slifer with, as even if Yugi used Code Change on Dark Renewal, he could then only summon a Dark Divine Beast monster, not a Divine Beast monster. Another cheat I found in this duel is when...
Fine. I'm going insane.
Sends Beast of Guildford from the deck to the grave, and then during Yugi's turn, his Dark Magician attacks Elemental Hero Blade Edge. And only when Jaden attacks into Dark Magician does Guildford's effect get shown. Again, like before, Yugi's hiding knowledge from Jaden until the last possible moment, so this counts as a cheat. Moving on to the big screen, we'll start with Pyramid of Light, where Yugi gets attacked and drops all his cards. You can see for a brief moment that he loses 2 copies of the Winged Dragon of Ra and King's Knight. The movie novelization
This is called an animation error, not a cheat. It's fine. And also, who's to say that he doesn't have 2 copies of the Winged Dragon of Ra and 2 copies of King's Knight? Did he register this deck? Is this the deck that he registered? Fine. It's fine. I don't know what this has to do with anything, but it's fine.
that he only has 1 King's Knight, and obviously there's only 1 copy of each card in existence. It almost definitely is an animation error, but still counts as a cheat. On Yugi's final turn, Yugi has done some switcheroos of his own, as he's shown to draw a Diffusion Wave motion, but out of nowhere he activates Double Spell, which he was never shown to have at any point before this, and his hand was also empty. This also isn't really a cheat. When Yugi uses Kaiba Return from a different dimension, he mentions that Kaiba wanted a perfect victory, which was fine, except for the part that Kaiba never said his part out loud, he only fought it.
No, I wanted a perfect victory.
Almost definitely a continuity error, but it is funny to think that Yugi...
What the fuck are we talking about? What does this have to do with him cheating? What do you mean? Why are we bringing this up? Also, it's Yugi and Kaiba. You think Yugi doesn't know what the fuck Kaiba wants? Did we really count animation errors as cheating? Yes. Yes, we did. Look, the counter is high. Here's the thing. Like, 70% of these are actual cheats. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. A lot of the stuff at the beginning, I was like, yeah, of course. We are making shit up. We don't need to. The counter is high. We don't need more of this shit. What are we talking about? It's fine.
Was reading Kaiba's mind the entire time. For Bonds Beyond Time in Yugi, Jaden, and Yusei's duel against Paradox, Yugi commits a sort of half cheat here. Jaden activates Flute of Summoning Kuribo, letting him add a Kuribo or win Kuribo from his deck to his hand. But instead, Yugi adds Kuribo to his hand, which under tag team rules, if an effect would special summon from the deck or add a card from the deck to the hand, the currently acting player performs the effect using their own deck. So as Yugi was the one who activated Flute of Summoning Kuribo, it would be him getting win Kuribo from his deck, not Yugi. There's a couple problems with adding this to the cheat counter though, as Jaden was also just as complicit in this cheat, as he's the one who's activated it. And while I'm using official rules, there's nothing guaranteeing that anime rules also use them, so I won't count this one. So with that all being said and done, Yugi cheats.
Oh, but we don't count this when it comes to anime rules? What do you mean? It's fine.
56 times. But there's also another thing I want to point out, and it's that at the end of the ceremony duel, Shizu makes this comment.
You're wrong. You see, the Pharaoh didn't predict what his next card would be. His willpower made it so.
Which makes all these duels like here, or here, or here, or here, extremely suspect, as Yugi is basically able to cheat any card he wants to the top of the deck. We see multiple times him just drawing a card without looking at it, and already knowing what it is, which means that in every single duel, in every single draw, there's always the question of, did Yugi cheat this draw out? You might say, in anime drawing cards is technically a skill, which sure is true, but what Yugi did was the equivalent of using steroids, given that he used an ancient Egyptian artifact, which gave him access to millennia-old spirit, who can literally manipulate fate and even duel for him, which in my personal opinion, definitely counts as cheating. After all, it basically means that whenever you're dueling against Yugi, you're technically dueling against two different people. So to answer the question I asked at the start of the video, how many times does Yugi cheat? Given that he duels with Pharaoh in basically every duel, the real answer is simple. Yugi's cheated in every single duel.
Yeah, I get I mean, okay, kinda. Here's the thing though. Is he cheating? It's not like he's actively stacking the deck. He's not manipulating the cards within his deck. What are you talking about? All he's doing is willing the card to the top of the deck. What does that mean? It means that he just happens to get the card that he needs to, right? Whether that is he knew that that was coming and so he played into that, knowing from the start of the duel that that's what he should do. But all I have to say is that is part of the anime. That does not necessarily mean that he's cheating in every single duel, because he has the ability to potentially draw the card that he needs. Is that an ability? Or is that just that he's fucking lucky? We don't know. I say Yugi is a cheater as rage bait. You're trying to prove he's a cheater through convoluted logic. We are not the same. Here's the thing. Yugi definitively is a cheater. There are several instances within this video where he cheats. Like, straight up. He just blatantly cheating. Right? What's a good example? Where was it? This one.
Up next is Yugi's duel against. It only destroys. So in this, the duel should have been only would have destroyed Graceful Dice, but he wouldn't have been
this one right here. He destroys Graceful Dice, negating its effect. Doesn't negate. MST does not negate. D-Spell does not negate. Doesn't negate. That's blatantly a cheat. Cool. Awesome. Yugi cheats. Wow. Not surprising, but like, wow. Crazy. Who would have guessed? That being said, you don't need to jump through like 10 million hoops to try and figure out if he cheated or not. He cheats. He clearly cheats. That's fine. But him drawing cards through the fucking will of the gods is not cheating. That's just luck. That's what you would define as luck. And whether Yugi has it or not doesn't matter. He's lucky. That's all it is. Oh, he wills it to the top of his deck? Yeah, he's motherfucking lucky. Just like every other player who top decks Maxi or what have you. Anyway. Every branded player has a Master Duel cheat. In Master Duel cheats? True, true. Yugi is why we thought MST negated this whole time. Yep. Pegasus used his eye. Yep. And so does Yugi. Exactly. Is Pegasus using his eye cheating? Arguably. But then again, he could just be lucky. He could just know his opponent's deck and his opponent's facial expressions and all of that stuff very well. He could just know. All right? He may just have better knowledge of the opponent's deck and what they're likely to play around. Anyway, the point is, Goofy. Goofy. That's all. Again, Yugi very blatantly cheats. You don't need to come up with all of these, like, convoluted... Oh, actually, he cheats here because... I don't know how anime cards work. Yeah, most likely. Most likely, the Millennium Puzzle is giving some sort of, like, luck increase, basically. Duelist Kingdom Pegasus literally changed the game to have D&D locations and abilities? Yep. I wouldn't say changed. He just made the game that way, right? Get back to me when Yugi has hands like you say. True. 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 Ready? Blue eyes. Go. There was not a chance this was going to be a man mirror match. We all knew it was Blue Eyes. As soon as we saw the Primite, we all knew it was Blue Eyes. You see, Yugi boy, I know your deck because it needs to add because I needed to add it to the database. Also, I saw that you bought it from Amazon. Yeah. There he is. There's Blue Eyes. Special summon another one. Blue Eyes, White Dragon. Yugi boy. Oh, Seal? Seal! Whoop. Crazy. Oh, what a terrible, no good, very bad draw. You hate to see it. Okay, let's start with this. That resolved. That's crazy. That's crazy to think about. That resolved? What the fuck? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? That is annoying, but not the end of the world. What are we doing? What? Why? Huh? What? What's going on? I'm confuzzled. Ah, I see. I see. Cool, anyway. Of course, yeah, Droll. When did he not have Droll? I have to think here. I could special Angel Trumpeter. Does that accomplish anything? Kinda? It's honestly probably worth it, huh? Can't go into that guy. I'll just go combat here. Walk into this guy. Also, what's with Blue Eyes players playing this? It's like a thing that they've been doing recently. I'm confused by it. I don't get. I don't get. The hell do you have? What's a bestial? Sure. You gonna add back the Kawaki Mairu? I guess. I guess, maybe. Uh-huh. Or I can make Typhon. That's crazy. Wow, who would have guessed? I know at least one of their drill beams is down. The likelihood of them having a second one is pretty high, though, but, I'll turn that one, it's funny. Sure. Mm-hmm. Do you have another drill beam here? Nope, I figured. Cool. Spirit. Do I just banish Spirit here? Preventing them from getting a Blue Eyes onto their field. Maybe? I think I will allow them to go for the Blue Eyes here. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Because the likelihood of this being the stupid, like, unaffected Dingus card is, fairly high. Sure, yeah. What the fuck are you making here? Oh. Yeah? Sure. Mm-hmm. Sure. I know they have an Ether Barrel and a Kawaki Mairu in hand, and then the rest is unknown, I believe. Yeah, sure. I'll do this. Mm-hmm. Do they have the quick play fusion? That would be crazy. And also pretty much expected. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Opopis. Opopis is something. I don't love it. I don't love it. Do 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 do. Do 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 boop boop boo do 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 do. Here's man. Man. Mm-hmm. Add temple. Sorry, treasures. Treasure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yup. Yup. Add a guy. Yup. Add this guy. Yeet. Banish. Add temple. Mm-hmm. Set this guy. I already have a Popus. Do 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 bow 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 bow. Could make Typhon here. Typhon kills him. Ain't that funny? Yeah. Yeah, it does. That's crazy. And it plays around Nib. Even crazier. Whoa, even crazier. Oh, Delta. Delta Purge? Damn, this hand's crazy. Oh, boo. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay. Here's treasures. Oh! Not what I was expecting. Okay, I'm gonna set this, and then, Effecto. Mm-hmm. Add, this one. Yeet. Banish. What? Do I have Raw in this deck? No, why would I? Looks like we're playing man. True, man. Man! I could summon Lambda here. Lambda's actually not bad. I didn't need to do that, but it's fine. Here's Driver. Get his AS. That's how that works? Ah! That's so funny. That's so funny, dude. Holy shit. Because it gets negated and it gets banished. Holy shit. Oh, that's so funny. All right, let's go load. Call Trumpeter. Do you have like Ass Blossom? Oh, it's Ghost Spell. Sure. The fact that that works that way is so funny, dude. What is this set card? I'd love to know. Is it like Raikou? Bloom. Man's a pretty fun deck. I do like it. I still prefer Lab over this one. I think Lab is just a more interesting design. But I don't hate this one. This one's fun. At least they added the correct artwork for Daddy Eldritch. Coolio. Let's make Lambda. Opus. Mm-hmm. All right. Go. Wanted to try man, but unfortunately got no men. Tragic. To be fair, you could play it with one. Geldlich. Oh no. What do you mean? Why was this the target? This card doesn't do shit. Bruh. That was like the only card that was a bad target. Yeah. Sure. No, we're going combat here. Weep. Here's driver. You knew this, by the way. This was known information to you. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Sure. Whoa, crazy. Man. Man. Oh, I did that wrong. It's fine. It's fine. I can fix it. I just did it wrong. Because I was supposed to set the Apopis and then activate the Apopis and summon it and then go from there. And I didn't because I'm stupid. Not that it mattered too much, but... Out comes this guy. Yeah. I forgot to buy the gold. Gold. Oh, the fusion you make with the traps? I've only ever summoned one. So, I only ever play one. I play multiple, but I don't think you need multiple. I think you can get away with one. Okay. I think I actually just pass. Just spook him. Here's Temple of the King and a set card. Thoughts? Praise? Copium. Ready, Lightning Storm. Go. Oh, it's Tenpai. Okay, I was kind of expecting that. Sure. Yep. Field spell? No, Song and Kaiman. Sure. Immediately into combat. Oh, you wanted to... No, fuck you. Sure. Gawua. Bop, bop, bop. Yeet. Got him. I kind of half expect, like, Verte here. The fuck is Hita doing? I guess just drawing us a card. True. Hadn't thought about that. Triple tag. Sure. They're gonna grab like Lightning Storm here. Watch. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. I was right. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Okay. Sure. Fine by me, bud. That's an insane top deck. Wow, crazy. All right, it's time for Min. There he is. There's the boy. Treasures. Set up Opus. Up Opus. Add a guy. Add this one. Summon this one. Add this guy. Effective Opus. Mm-hmm. 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 Here's this guy. Embodiment. Target card, your opponent controls straight. Do I want to do that? Yes, because then I kill him. Mm-hmm. Fua. Genroku, sure. Genroku, the Roach. Mm-hmm. Okay. Short. Do they just die if I go combat here? Hold on. I go Silo Hat, but that doesn't set anything, does it? No, not really. I've already used my normal. Yeah, they should just be dead here. no idea why we wouldn't have put that in defense anyway. Not that that would have mattered in that position, but don't know why we didn't put it into defense. Two! Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Surely I draw hand traps. I kinda did. Notably, I drew evenly, which matters. You talking about my deck list? I have a video on it. I can't show you at this second, sorry. Oh, evenly goes crazy here. Stratos. Do I just purge this? Trying to think of what punishes this. Kind of nothing in particular. Like, this is, I think, the best one. Yeah, I think I just purged this. It's likely they have an extender, but there's not really anything that I can do about that. If they have the extender, they have the extender, right? I just think that hitting Stratos is probably the best card to hit in that position. Like, maybe you save it for Vion and be like, oh, they're going to have the extender, so I'm going to save it for Vion or something of that nature. But, like, I don't know, maybe. It kind of just depends on, like, whether or not you think they have that extension or not. Because them getting access to Ferris is insane. So if you can cut them off of that, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that was probably the best purge that we could have gotten. With imperfect knowledge there. Also, I need to clean my opponent's cards. They look nasty. This deck kind of struggles going second. That's why we're playing evenly. Yeah. That's why we're playing heinous cards, like evenly matched and the like. See, like, I hit this, and it's pretty good. Cutting them off of polymerization would be nice, but... you know. What can you do? They could be on the Dark Angel line. I haven't seen a ton of people do that recently, but that is, like, a possibility. It's just highly improbable. I always thought that this tributed a monster it pointed to. I feel like it's because it's supposed to say that, and yet it doesn't, and so I'm confused. Right, doesn't this feel like a card that's like, tribute a card this card points to? Not that it necessarily needs to say that for any purpose, that just seems like the way that the card would work. Bro, can you not make my eyes hurt with your stupid shitty looking cards? Fucking clean them up, dude. It's nasty. It's gross. No one likes it. Ugh. Mm-hmm. What, does every single hero player have all royals? Because what else are they gonna get? You know that they're just playing hero, and they're only crafting hero cards. Whoa, Plasma! Plasma goes crazy here. Please keep Plasma. Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! Sick, dude. I fucking love it here. Add man. Let's go loadly load. Add drill beam. Effective lordly load. Special trumpeter here. I will not go drill beam actually. I'll go like this, Spanish, special. And then I will go like normal man. Does that do anything? No. I could go Typhon. I actually think it's just go Typhon here. Just have Typhon. Just for kicks and giggles, I guess. I could go Baron. Baron kind of doesn't do anything though. If I normal man, I could go into SP, which isn't terrible either. Man's actually probably worth it, huh? Just for the destruction protection, huh? Yeah. Because me, like, searching anything just doesn't do anything. I need to cut this card and put something else. Because I'm not playing the way to summon it. I think I just... set... Go. Mm-hmm. 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 Mally, for sure, for sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll go like this. Fucking course. Yeah, sure. that's fine. Mm-hmm. Ugh. God, I fucking hate heroes. Cross Crusade, sure. Mm-hmm. No, you dumb fuck. Go fuck yourself. I hope you die in a hole where you fucking belong, you whore. Mm-hmm. 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 Sure. Of course I draw that. Why would I not? Right, because this game is fun, fair, and balanced. Right. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that seems fair and reasonable and balanced and fair and reasonable and balanced. Do I have a way of dealing with this stupid asshole? No, I literally don't. Because this game is terrible. It deserves to burn in fucking jail. God damn, what a stupid ass bitch. What a fucking dog shit ass deck. Ah, I fucking hate this stupid Floodgate turbo strategy. Oh, I hate Hero, dude. I hate losing to it. It always feels terrible to play against, too. They're just like, man, what if we made the worst deck imaginable? Go fucking kill yourself, dude. I wish every Hero player a terrible Merry Christmas. God damn! They're a blight on Yu-Gi-Oh! Go play fucking Blue Eyes or something. At least be cool. No, I'm gonna play this stupid-ass Floodgate deck. Yay! Hero! Jaden Yuki's my favorite. I love GX. Go fuck yourself. Imagine if they didn't have the fucking quick play that allowed them to tribute their monster for free on their field. Wow, that would have been so cool. Sure. Sure. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Fucking dog shit game, huh? But of course. God, this game. Oh god, this game's so fucking dog shit. Imagine not just getting run over by every deck known to man. Sure. Do you have prayers? Sure. Do you draw a fucking mirror? Oh, you can just search it. Yeah. I don't know what to add. Sure. Why not? Why not? Have I won a coin flip? Sure. Coup clock. Sure, sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm debating on whether or not I negate this or just let them do their thing and then negate the lady effect or the lovely effect. Yeah, that's fine. Sure. Lovely. Mm-hmm. 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 Fantastic. It's pretty much exactly what I wanted them to hit. I'd love to. I'd purge, because I don't play Impulse. Okay. So they have Daruma, and that's it? Interesting. Interesting, interesting. Right. Can't use monster effects in hand. Okay. This guy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We'll go Trumpeter. Impulse. Sure. Temple of the Kings. Mm-hmm. Okay. Uh-huh. But of course. What a fun fucking game. Yeah, fuck you, you stupid piece of shit. Go fuck yourself. God, this game is so ass. Holy shit. Fucking dog shit game is dog shit, dude. I'm so fucking pissed. I just can't play against anything that is reasonable. Everyone's just on the dog shit today. Hooray! This is what I hate about the fucking Duelist Cup. Everyone is just on the most heinous criminal activities. It's so boring. They're like, no, I gotta play fucking Floodgates. Yay, best of one. Yay, best of one. I'm so glad that there are so many dog shit cards available to us. Woo! Yay! God damn. Now I will finally fucking win a coin flip and my opponent's gonna fucking disconnect. I hate this game. Dude, I'm so done. I'm so done. Go fuck yourself, game. Really? Actual fucking joke. Are you fucking kidding me, game? I'm so done with this stupid game, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? This game's a goddamn joke. Oh, imagine not every deck having some stupid floodgate that auto wins them the game. Imagine actually being able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! No, that's not allowed. Imagine playing fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Nope, instead here's Skill Drain on legs. Here's Macrocosmos on legs. Here's Maxi. Here's fucking Eradicator. Here's Dimensional Barrier. A playable game. Says who? Nice Maxi. fun. What do you have, dude? Do you have something here? Or are we just sitting here waiting? About damn time. Sure. Sure. This one. I'll go Angel Trumpeter here. Pass. Hmm. Mm-hmm. We've already used Typhon, right? Yeah. This is why I don't like the Duelist Cup, is that everyone is playing the most heinous criminal things. They're not playing the top decks. They're not trying to, like, play the meta. They're just like, what if I did the most stupid thing you've ever had the displeasure of playing against? And you're like, yay. So every game just feels like the worst game possible. Even the meta decks are like, what if I did the most heinous thing this deck could do? And then you go, yay. And you lose to some dog shit card that shouldn't exist in a best of one. Yay. That's always what it feels like. It's just never fun. It's just 0% of the time fun. And then you just want to jump off of a bridge. Opus. No droll. PogChamp, no droll. Not gonna lie, not too terribly concerned about that. Is there a point in me going Silo Hat, right? No. I'll do this. I'll go Trump. Trumpeter. I guess I just go like Doug here. I'll just go Doug. Doug. Oh, I can't draw cards. That was stupid. Or can't activate its effect. That's why I wasn't supposed to do that. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine. That was just really, really stupid. Just waste of material. Damn. Ritual. Ritual. This is a once per, isn't it? Yep. Damn. There's no fucking way. Yeah, why wouldn't I have? Yeah, why wouldn't I have? But of course. But of course. Alright, let's add man. Man. I want a normal summon man, but I kinda can't, can I? No, not really. I mean, I could. Alright, let's go with Popus. Set a Popus. Let's go. These two here. A Popus. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not great. Add temple. I'll go temple. I don't have a way to play around Nib here. So I simply won't. Yeah? How best do I do that? Go like this. Yeah, I fucking knew it. Yeah, I fucking knew it. Dog shit game is dog shit, of course. I literally can't do anything. Oh, fun. Not requires effects monsters. And something from the extra. Okay, go. If I attack, yes, I could do damage, but I wouldn't be able to kill them. So I could have just attacked and then passed. But I don't kill them. And my board is not... I don't know. I guess it's... Yeah, I guess my board wasn't bad. They were pretty heavily telegraphing Nib. Why do I think Master Duel went back to 15k active players? Because the game is the best card game in the genre right now. Not hard to see why. Because the game is good. I actually don't think I Delta. Maybe I do. They really want to lose to Nibiru. Ain't that crazy? Mm-hmm. Luckily for them, I don't have it. Mm-hmm. Lance. Well, ain't that funny? Okay. Sure. Yeah. Add a man. Normal man. Effective man. Grab field spell. Add field spell. Activate field spell. Field spell. Set a card. Set a Popus. Is there a point to me summoning this? No. Activate, no. Set, Lordly Load, activate effect, add a monster, add Anubis, activate Lordly Load, add Drill Beam, set 1, set 2, set 3, go. What is this? No. Yep. Yep. Opopus. How does this card work? This should still trigger, right? Okay. Okay. Trish. Yup. Trish. Crazy. Crazy. I don't want to draw this card. Piss off. Man. Yeah. This one. Send it. Do you have an effect? Destroyed. Okay. I guess Lambda's not terrible here. Let's go Doug. Let's go Doug. First and foremost, Doug. Attach 2. Draw 2. Gives Lordly Load. Opus. One, two. Yeet. Okay. Let's go for... What do I want to go for here? Great question. I think let's do this. I'll go combat here. Walk over this guy. Walk over this guy. Loadly load. Go Angel. Angel. I think I could have done that better. I don't think it mattered. I just think that there was a way that I could have cleared the board more effectively without having to use, like, SP. I don't know if it... I don't know. SP's, like, really solid, though. We did it. 15. God, this game's so fucking slog. Hey, look at that. It's a test. It's time for a test. Hopefully this isn't absolutely dog shit with its rulings. We all know that it's going to be. This is a Fiend, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. for some reason. I don't know. Okay, sure. Yeah, that one. Your opponent controls no monsters except for Megalo Smasher X in attack position with Moon Mirror Shield. You control Wicked Avatar in attack position and no other monsters. What happens if Megalo Smasher declares an attack on Wicked Avatar? Oh, I forget how these work. R equal. I believe Wicked Avatar destroys Megalo Smasher. I don't know. Yeah, okay. This is a fiend, right? Yeah. What happens if you activate Solemn Judgment in response to your opponent's spell card activation while you have 1 life points? Your life points drop to 0. They remain at 1, the spell activation is negated, and the card is destroyed. Which of these statements about life points is false? The duel is finished when either player's life points reach 0. There are ways of lowering life points aside from taking damage. The maximum amount of life points is 8,000. Both players have 8,000 life points at the beginning of the duel. False, right? Oh gosh. 3,100. You control Neos Wise Man in attack position. Your opponent controls Ascended Thunder in attack position. Special summon through its summoning method. Yep. What happens if Elemental Neos Wise Man destroys by battle on your turn while you control no monsters in grave? What the hell does this say? They'd take 4 and then go up to... and then go up 5? Wait, does this have an effect? That monster's original attack? What goes first? This is a mandatory effect, isn't it? Right? And this one's an optional? No, they're both mandatory. So I, as turn player, would be Chainlink 1 and they would be Chainlink 2. So they'd be at 5, right? Yeah. With these in your main monster zone and what in your pendulum zone, you banish Skelta from grave to activate the effect of Angelo that states during the main phase, you can banish a normal spell, apply the effects, gaining life points. If the opponent responds to this effect by activating a bad reaction to Samochi. I think you just take 5, right? What is it? What is the state? As long as this card remains face up, any effect of increasing your opponent's life points is changed to inflict the same amount of points in damage to your opponent's life points. This is, I believe it just, you just take the 5, and then because you can't, hold on, what does this say? Gain 5, then, yeah. So I think you just take 5, yeah. I will say all of these actually did make sense. Like, this ruling makes sense because it's like at every point in combat, or at every point, this card is equal to the highest plus that 100. So no matter what changes, it's always that additional 100. That one makes sense. That's a good ruling. This is one of the few rulings with like attack modulation that actually makes sense and is like, cool. That one makes sense. Yeah. This card states this card's attack and defense are equal to the highest attack on the field plus 100. Perfect. Yeah, obviously that works that way. The Solemn Judgment one is silly, but it does make sense, right? Because you can't really... Because it's always rounded up, right? So you round up the life points. So if you go, I'm going to pay half of 1, which is rounded up 1. Or sorry, I'm going to pay half of 1, which leaves my life points rounded up at 1. It's like, yeah, cool. There are no fractions. Even though they technically exist, they're no fraction. This one also makes sense, right? Because of mandatory effects. They're both mandatory effects. They both have to happen due to player priority. My card goes on this chain link first. My effect is going to activate second because the second chain link is going to be the Ascendant Defender, which then activates and they gain the 5,000. And then I deal the additional points of damage. And then this one is silly, kind of, but it does make sense. Again, these are actually some pretty explainable rulings. The Solemn one is just Dynamorphia on a daily basis. True. Imagine if the Vowel spells chose on res, so the Samochi flips the choice instead of fizzling it. Yeah, imagine. Though you wouldn't even be able to, though, right? Because like if I flip it, so that would work for like activating the spell, right? Apply one of these effects. No, you do choose at resolution. It's that you are copying the effect with this, or copying, applying, whatever. And these specifically state that you are activating the effect of the, not activating, using the effect of the card that applies the effect of you gaining life points. So like if this didn't say then you can place, if it was just like gain and like then it would work. Even if you could choose at point of resolution, it wouldn't matter because you technically do choose a point of resolution. Right? Apply one of these effects. Unless you have a Valmonic card, your opponent chooses the effect. Yeah. You apply the effect at point of resolution. But your opponent chooses... I think I'm confusing myself. Apply one of these effects unless you have a Valmonica card in your Pendulum Zone. Your opponent chooses the effect. If I activate this, no cards, my opponent activates or chooses the effects that they apply. However, if I activate this with the Pendulum, it resolves and I choose to apply the effect. Yeah, you choose at point of resolution. The problem with this is that you are utilizing the effect of Angelo, which specifically states that you are already choosing the effect, right? Apply whichever effect on the card that includes gaining life points. So it's already made that choice for you, and you are applying said effect. Which means that regardless of whether or not Samochi, or whether or not you chose that point of resolution or not, you would still have to apply the life gain effect of this. Yes, if you were to activate the spell card, then you could choose to be like, oh, I'll take the damage instead of trying to gain the life points so that I can get the search. But you're not, because this specifically states this one. And it banishes for cost, right? Yeah. So even if that technically worked differently, it still would apply the same way. Anyway. Valmonica deserves support. I don't disagree with that. I think that they are Pendulum done right. I think that deck and the Novels are the way that you do Pendulums correctly. That being said, I still don't like playing against Novels. They're really stupid. Really annoying. Yeah, you can only activate this once per turn, but you apply one of the effects at point of resolution. Like, you... Yeah. You guys weird. But basically, you would, like, activate this, and then your opponent would respond, and then you would choose. Right? I really don't think that they actually made... This deck definitely feels like one of those decks that was not specifically designed to be a good deck, if that makes sense. Right? Like, Konami obviously knows when a deck is going to be good and when a deck is going to be meta and when it's not. Or at least they have a general sense as to what decks will be or, like, can be top tier and what ones won't be. Right? And I feel like they never had the intention of making Valmonica a top tier deck. And it was more supposed to be a rogue deck. Just due to the nature of the way that the cards work. That would never be like a meta deck, right? That being said, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's a Pendulum deck. It's never going to be bad. It's never going to be good. Or just throw a random waifu deck? Like Sulfur or Melodious? Melodious was top tier. Not only as an engine, but as a deck itself. When those cards, when the new support released, it was top tier. It wasn't the best deck, but it was up there. Sulfur with the new support is comparable. Similarly with the Melodious idea, it's like, it's a comparable engine, right? Specifically facilitated due to Yummy, I think? One of those decks, I don't know. But it's just like another engine that you can throw in right now. Valmonica, on the other hand, though, just due to the nature of the way that the spells and traps worked, it felt like it was never going to be fully up to snuff, because I feel like it was either... I think what they were worried about is if you make something good in that deck, it could be really overtuned. And I think that was where a lot of the issue with the card design comes from. Because of the nature of the way that these cards work, being able to give them two different effects means that either one of two things is going to happen. And I think in terms of design... Let me explain. Sorry. One of two things is going to happen. Either it's going to be overtuned, and the effects are just going to be way too applicable, and so they kind of toned down some of the effects and made them a little bit more balanced, right? Or they were going to be way heavily skewed one way or the other, where you're like, oh, I'm always going to take 500 damage with this effect, or I'm always going to take the gain 500 life points, or something of that nature. And I think they specifically wanted to kind of avoid that with most of the cards. So they didn't specifically give you just like a generic searcher or a generic this or generic that. It's also why they have the, like, unless you have a pendulum, yada yada. So I think they were just like, We want... I think this was a very specific design choice of, like, we want you to choose both. And to utilize both the taking damage and the gaining life points so that you're not just, like, gaining a whole bunch of life points or just, like, taking a whole bunch of damage, but that you're in that equilibrium and, like, constantly swinging back and forth. It requires counters. I don't think that's necessarily what kills it, but yeah. Anyway. Silver Cord with the new cards in the K9 engine has tops and paper. Is it K9? Yeah. You're probably right. It's probably K9. I couldn't remember if it was Yummy or K9. But yeah, Silver Cord is not bad. No, I was right. It's Yummy. What are you talking about? It's Yummy. See? Yummy. Top 32. Yummy Sulfur Cord. With basically just the new cards. I thought I was crazy. Did anyone actually play it with the... Oh, yeah. People played it with K9. Not many. But it existed. And that's the point. Pretty simple. Anyway. Yummy's crazy, huh? Yummy's crazy, huh? Anyway, I'm gonna call it quits there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, like us very much, so appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.